Good evening, parents and families. We're delighted to have all of you here with us today. My name is Vinita Dillon. I am the Title IX coordinator for campus, but also parent liaison, among other things that I do on campus. You've seen my posts on Facebook, and some of you might even have contacted me. As we go through today's session, I will place my phone number and my contact information in chat again, so you have access to it. I have a few housekeeping items before we can get started. As you can see, I've shared the schedule for the rest of the month, so you know what topic is being discussed on each of the days, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Please make a note of that. Please do keep all your devices on mute during the presentation. You can put your questions in chat, and once the presentation is done, I will field those questions. If any one of you is driving or unable to put your questions in chat, we'll open it up to taking your questions verbally by unmuting your device towards the end of today's session. So don't be afraid that you might not get your chance. If you have any questions with specific details about your cadet, please don't put that in chat. Go ahead and share that with me at orientation@csum.edu, and we'll get back with you with the information you're looking for. So avoid putting any personal information in chat. Today's conversation is going to be about what the core is, how your student will be a cadet at Cal Maritime, and about our leadership program. If you have questions that are not directly related to this topic, we can try to address those at the end if we have time. Or again, I welcome you to send me those questions at the orientation email, which I'll include in chat again. With that, it is my pleasure to invite our guests, the commandants and our students, who will go through their presentation and open it up for questions afterwards. So with that, I'm going to allow them to share their presentation. Introduce yourselves and take it away, guys. Thank you.
Excellent. Vinita, thank you so much for having us. Really appreciate it. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Perfect. Hope you didn't get too many spoilers. Can you all see my screen okay? Is this all right?
Yes.
Looks
awesome.
Good.
Thank you. So this is our presentation real quick. I would like to introduce myself and the team that I'm working with. We also have another student on here, and I'll have him introduce himself when the time comes. So the Corps of Cadets is not just the uniform body that you see. It's not just people like me wearing this uniform. It includes everybody. It includes housing. It includes student government. It includes athletes. And we all have our own. We all play our own part, and we all contribute to the general cadet experience. Yes, we all have similarities, but we do our own part. So on their behalf, I'll just introduce our executive cadet leaders, also known as the Diamond, because there are 4 organizations, and it's a nice shape. So first, starting from the top, going clockwise, we have Emily Silva. She'll be the Student Athlete Council President. She is a Senior Global Studies and Maritime Affairs major. Next, we have Rebecca, or Becca, and she's the Student Body, or ASCMA President. She's a Senior Mechanical Engineering licensed major. Then you have me. My name is Stanislav. You can just call me Stas. It's a lot easier. Stas Allen. I'm the Corps Commander. I'm a Senior International Business and Logistics major. And then we have our Student Housing Director, Andrew Oka, who's a licensed mechanical engineering major. Kyle, if you are on the line, please introduce yourself.
I am right here, Stas. Thank you very much. As you may notice, I'm not in uniform because that's because I just got off work from my co-op with General Dynamics Path Fireworks. But just to introduce myself, I am Kyle Yamamoto. I am a senior GSMA cadet. So for this year, I'll be most likely working with your cadets in EOP, ELDP, and also assisting the community engagement.
As you can see, we all have our own roles to play, whether we are in one of these 4 organizations or what Kyle just said. Everyone is involved, and a lot of us even share roles. So I have a friend that's a corps leader, also a residence hall officer, or as many of you may know, as an RA, and he's also an athlete. So what do? We are the students, right? So we are the student body. We're aspiring professionals. Regardless of field, regardless of trade or profession, we're all, from day one, we have aspirations, we have goals, we have dreams, and we do our best to attain them day by day, right? We have a plethora of programs available to help us achieve our goals. And at the end of the day, we're here working on our aspirations. We're advocates. Regardless of which organization we're a part of, whether you're a corps leader, whether you're in the corps cadet structure specifically, whether you're in student government, whether you're housing, EOP, student athlete counselor, we all advocate for cadets. We all advocate for our students. We might have different responsibilities in our respective organizations. That said, however, the end goal is to drive the cadet experience, to make sure that everyone is able to do what they can and enable them to be the best that they can be. We're athletes. A good portion of our school are athletes. They do participate in some sort of campus sport. If not, they're in intramurals. We pride ourselves on having a lot of athletes. That's why we have a whole organization set up where we represent athletes specifically. And at the end of the day, we're late night studiers, Netflix bingers. We're just like, we're a lot like other college campuses. We have things that set us apart, but it's an experience that many of you may have shared when at your time in university. We're also a leadership laboratory. We have various cadet organizations, as we've said, whether that is the corps cadet structure that I'm a part of, or whether you are in ASCMA, housing, or a student athlete council. We have many different avenues that cadets of all grades, of all rankings can take part in and have their voice and input heard. We have many professional opportunities, and I'll go over them later, but some of them include, we have, so I'm an international business logistics student. One of our professors leads a club where he introduces IBL students to careers in the maritime industry, specifically around logistics and supply chain management. And one day I remember he offered this as extra credit. It was awesome because that definitely saved my grade, to go to a maritime insurance seminar. And we have many opportunities like this for all majors. And this particular seminar wasn't just for my major, but it allowed us to see what kind of avenues we can look forward to post-commencement, post-graduation. They had lawyers there, they had maritime specialists there. It was an amazing experience, and that's shared all across the board. We have clubs. Clubs are one of the centerpiece items of our school. We have a good portion of our cadets are in a club or are club leaders themselves. We have organizations that vary from social justice and advocacy, like the Gay Straight Alliance, the Asian Pacific Islander Club, and so on. And then we have more lighthearted clubs like the Sea Shanty Club. I mean, it's a maritime academy. What do you expect? And other things like the Anime Club. And then another pillar of our academy is the formation and watchstanding, which we'll get to in a bit. As of right now, I'd like to open this up to any of the commandants if they have anything to add before we move forward.
Hey, Stas, and hello, everybody. This is David Taliaferro. I'm coming to you live from Honolulu aboard the TS Golden Bear. And don't want to add too much to what Stas has already brought up, but just maybe make a few connections. So you'll see that the core of cadets, it is our student body, and it's also the community-based approach to education that Cal Maritime has. So it's all about participating, being part of something bigger than yourself. And I think what Stas mentioned about professional development is really important, and professional affiliation. Most of the work and practices and protocols that we put in place with the Corps of Cadets, with attention to detail, safety, certainly watch standing, all of those are meant to be very closely aligned to what cadets will experience in their steps out of Cal Maritime, or as Kyle can attest to, at your internship, or what you're doing. A lot of the things that the Corps of Cadets is looking to teach and impart are really tightly connected to the professional environment. And so it isn't by accident that a lot of times you'll hear that our graduates are sort of turnkey ready. So when they get out into the fleet or shoreside in some of these companies, one, they know how to create community and culture because that's what they've been part of. And two, they're ready to take on responsibility and lead from day one. So those are the things that I just want to mention, and I'll kind of cede my time over to the other commandants.
This is Danielle Pelvarsky, and I'm the Deputy Commandant here at Cal Maritime, and I'm also the Company Commandant for Marine Transportation, also known as DECIs. I just want to take this opportunity to introduce myself, and I'm really thrilled to have so many people online tonight to field your questions and to make you feel comfortable if you had anything outliers that you didn't have answers to. So I'm not going to add anything to what the Commandant as well as our Corps Commander has just added. I think we'll continue with the presentation, but let's take an opportunity to meet Commandant Lombardo.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Commandant Lombardo. I am the Company Commandant for MPM Company, or Maritime Policy and Management, which consists of International Business and Logistic majors, Global Studies and Maritime Affairs majors, and our new major of Oceanography. So if any of your cadets are in my company and you have any specific questions to my company, please feel free to reach out to me.
Excellent, thank you. So I'm speaking on behalf of my parents. They're not here, obviously, but this is something that, I just drill them with this, and they always ask, what do you mean? What are you talking about? So here's our structure real quick, right? I don't expect any of you to, memorize this or anything. This is just something to go over so that when we move forward, they're just some terms that you already understand, so that we don't have to define them anymore. So this is just the structure of the Corps of Cadets. All the other organizational bodies have their own structure, but this is something that everyone's also a part of. So specifically, I just want to go over what this is and the three different companies. As Commandant Lombardo mentioned, she's the company commandant for MPM Company, which is on the far right over there. So if one of your cadets says, I'm an MPM company, now you know what that means. We have engine company and we have deck company, and those we'll go into more detail in just a second about what they entail, what kind of opportunities they have, what goes into being a deck cadet, what goes into being an engine or an MPM cadet. But this is just the overall structure, so that when one of your cadets tell you, I'm so-and-so, you have a general idea of where they stand. So we have the whole Corps is divided into three companies, and then within each company are 4 divisions, and they're identified as a simple 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by the letter of their company. So if you're in deck company, you could be in 1D, 2D, etc. The letter for engine is E, and you guessed it, the letter for MPM is M. So that's just a very brief overview of the structure. Starting with deck company, it consists of marine transportation cadets, and this is solely dedicated and for them. They're responsible, when they do their watch standing, they're responsible for standing watch on the ship. I had my operations officer, Justin Stores, who couldn't make it here. He gave me a huge insight that he wanted to share with you. So what they do on their watch is they take the weather, they sign people in and out of the ship so that they make sure they have a good roster, that the only people that should be on the ship are those who can be there. They clean, they calculate tides and currents. They make sure that the lights are turned on and off. They make sure that the flags are, that they take down and put up the flags when it's appropriate, and other such matters that prepare them for their eventual job following commencement. They have opportunities in their classes and extracurriculars and school events to handle small boats and crafts. Last year was a little bit bumpy, as many of you may know, but we like to have as many ship days as we can, get people out on the water, really get people into their element, get them comfortable. One thing I do want to say about Deck Company, and something that I've seen, is just the professional development aspect of it, right? So I was fortunate enough to be able to witness the Golden Bear, our school's ship, dock back at our port, and I saw these cadets actually come by in that ship that's in this picture, nice little boat, onto the pier, get up and make the ship faster, tie it down. And it was incredible seeing how these 19, 20, however year olds were able to do this, and they were able to look, and they did it professionally and did it swiftly. This was just phenomenal because a year ago they just graduated, most of them just graduated high school. So in 1 year they made a huge difference, even during COVID times, and that didn't stop us. So that's just Deck Company in a nutshell. Commandant Pelvarsky, since you're the Deck Company Commandant, would you like to add anything more to this?
You know, the only thing I would definitely add, and it goes across all three companies, the other thing that people do on watch standing is you have your upperclassmen who actually take the underclassmen under their wing, and they go through all the standing watch procedures and what they should be doing on their watch, giving them the extra tutelage, and really taking the time for them to understand what watch is all about. And this goes across deck, engine, as well as MPM. It's not just deck itself. And that's the one thing I want to add, is that once your cadet comes on campus and they start the watch standing procedures, they are really getting an extra education from their upperclassmen to actually share their experiences and give them the extra tutelage that they need to be successful. Over to you, Stas.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commandant. We strive to be a mentor-mentee campus. And when we do it right, it really shows, and those bonds that kind of relationship forms, they transcend just the time that we're on campus. They go for years and years to come, whether it's in the same class or classes above. Absolutely, thank you. Moving on to Engine Company real quick. So it consists of 3 majors. It consists of mechanical engineering, facilities engineering technology, and marine engineering technology. So they're responsible for engine room watch, and this is extremely hands-on. They make sure that everything in the engine room is running properly. And it's one of my friends, he works for Chevron now. He said the experience that he had being in engine room watch was what allowed him to excel in his field. While this is something that's shared among the other maritime academies, what we offer at ours set him apart in his job right now. They have a lot of other opportunities as well, such as competing in the Baja SAE, which is the Society of Automotive Engineers, and that's a tournament where they can make cars, and which go on the Baja Desert. There's a yearly Department of Energy wind competition where they make wind turbines and see which one's the most efficient. They have a number of honor societies that they can join, and this all just adds to our prestigious engine program, and really highlights what we have on offer to develop our cadets both personally and professionally going into the future. I know Commandant Konechny is not here as far as I can tell, but if any of the commandants have anything to add to engine, you may, please.
You know, Stas, I think you covered everything. I think the only thing that maybe I would mention is, you know, these are the worker bees in the underbelly of the ship. And so they're definitely getting a very thorough education as to how everything works on the ship and to maintain things that are on the ship. So it is definitely a hands-on education.
Absolutely, thank you. Moving on to MPM Company. So it stands for, as Commandant Lombardo said, Maritime Policy and Management. It consists of 3 majors: Global Studies, Maritime Affairs, of which our very own Kyle Yamamoto is a part of, International Business Logistics, and Oceanography. They stand port watch, making sure that the port is secure, making sure that the only people that can get in and out of the port that we have on campus are authorized. There's also a pilot program for an inventory watch for the IBL students in the works. More to come on that as years come, but it just further highlights the hands-on training that we get on our campus. And one thing I really wanted to stress the importance of is the international experience opportunity that our MPM cadets get to do. So this picture on the right, as you can see, it's not a ship, it's not the water. I mean, there is a beach in the background. This was the summer of 2018. This was the international experience that our cadets took part in South Africa. On this international experience, they get to learn about other cultures. They get to learn about, they get to really be a part of other countries, see how they run their businesses, see how they run their ports, and they get to have some fun on the side as well. It's a really great opportunity, and this is something that our cadets speak about for years following their graduations. It's one of the highlights. Kyle, I know you're a GSMA major, and I've talked enough about my program. Anything you wanted to mention about GSMA on your end? We cannot hear you, unfortunately.
How about now?
Yes, this works.
Yeah, sorry about that. Had to switch platforms real quick. GSMA is Global Studies and Maritime Affairs, and actually, if you look on the far rightest picture, the man on the far left is the chair of GSMA. That is Dr. Assis Malakias, who is probably one of our best professors on campus, honestly. But GSMA, essentially just real quick, I'm just going to go into what international experience is, because hopefully in the next coming years, they'll actually be able to go, because for the past 2, due to COVID, sadly, we've had to do an online course. However, those have still been pretty neat, actually, because we've had experts come in from different campuses and different fields to teach these courses. For example, the one I took was on globalization, and this summer it was Professor Newman was running one for Japan.
No, it's a great opportunity, absolutely, and it's something that going forward, whether we go in an online format or come back to going in person, it's something that really shapes our cadets in their development here. Commandant Lombardo, do you have anything to add to this?
Yes. So just so your cadets or you aren't freaking out, watch is stood every night and over the weekend, but not every cadet will have watch every night. So cadets will average anywhere from 4 to roughly 6 watches in a semester. It just depends on the rotating schedule. During the week, we cut watch off this is for MPM company only. From Sunday night through Thursday night, we stop watch at midnight. That way the cadets can still have ample time to go to sleep. And then starting Friday night through Sunday night, we have watch on a 24-hour schedule. And the watches are stood in 4 blocks. Your cadet will be paired with so for the first years, the cadets will be paired with a sophomore and either a junior or a senior, who will be essentially taking them under their wing and showing them the ropes. Along with what Stas said about them checking IDs for into the port, they will do port rounds to make sure everything's secured and follow proper protocol if there are things unsecured. And also, as Stas said, this year we're piloting a watch specifically for international business and logistics majors. And we're hoping that if this works out, we can expand that. And then also oceanography, this is the 2nd year of the program. So I know the oceanography department is also hoping that they can make a watch that's more specific to oceanography once they get up and running. So in the meantime, all of MPM cadets will stand the port security watch.
Excellent, thank you so much. Moving on, we have formation. So better or worse, we have formation. I personally like it a lot. It's twice a week at 7:20 a.m. on the quad. Mondays and Wednesdays. I should have mentioned that. Fridays, we supplement it with residence hall walkthroughs. And so this is a really good opportunity for us to really take that community engagement piece, right? One thing that not only our campus, but many other college campuses want to stress the importance of is mental health. And one way of doing so is checking in on our cadets. That's the whole purpose of this. Going walkthroughs through the residence halls, making sure that everyone's okay, getting to know their names, as simple as that may sound, just giving them a smile and saying, good morning, how are you? And seeing what they're doing goes a very long way. It's not meant to be like a drill sergeant or drill instructor saying, you know, your room's dirty, what's going on? It's an opportunity for us to engage with our cadets, see how they're doing, and honestly just check up on them. So the purpose, like I said, is threefold. It's information dissemination. So for example, if we have an event or if we have other sort of pieces of information that we need to share, this is where we do it. We all get up at the same time. We stand in our respective lines in our respective squads, sections, divisions, companies, and we hear the news, for lack of a better term. It's for accountability. This is where cadets can really shine in their leadership roles. They make sure that everyone's there. If someone's not there, they'll check in on them. It's a really good tool to see how people are doing. For example, if someone is consistently not making formation, that could be a sign as, you know, what's going on? Let's talk to you. How can we help you out? And that segues nicely into cadet welfare. At the end of the day, formation is to physically see our shipmates, to see how we're doing, talk to them, engage with them. Because, you know, even though we may be a smaller campus in terms of size, you think people can get lost here, right? And I don't mean that literally or physically. I mean that, you know, proverbially. It's easy to get lost in numbers, and this is a good opportunity for each of us, cadet leaders and cadets in general, to get to know each other, see how we're doing. So like I said, that's twice a week in the mornings on the quad, and then on Fridays we have walkthroughs. Perfect. Next, I want to get in, unless anyone has anything to add, I'd like to get into the uniform grooming piece. So uniform grooming, I'm wearing it, the commandants are wearing it, or a portion of it, right? So we're a uniform body campus, which, you know, not written on here, but makes wardrobe decisions extremely easy. Like, I don't have to decide what I'm wearing every morning. It's like, okay, cool, we're wearing khaki today, easy, no problem. I don't have to like try to impress anybody. We're all wearing the same thing, it's good. It also makes laundry a lot easier, but I digress. So it's worn to class, it's worn to labs, it's worn to formation, it's worn to watch. So it's basically worn all the time. After a certain time during the weekdays, you don't need to wear it, and on weekends it doesn't have to be worn. But once classes aren't in session, you have to wear the uniform. It consists of we have multiple uniforms, as you can see on this chart here. It consists of multiple pieces, both formal, semi-formal, and working pieces. I know a lot of our cadets really like the coverall uniform, which a few slides back, you got to see a cadet in the engine room wearing it. They really like that. I have a friend, he's not even an engineering major, and he wears it like working on his car, right? So it's very diverse and durable and versatile. And then we have regular inspections, make sure people are wearing it properly, which is good. Professional development tool, focusing on the little details, as well as seeing, are you keeping it clean? Do you have all the important pieces on there? Because even though they might not wear a uniform post-graduation, specifically like this one, whether you are going to be, a doctor, finance, lawyer, in the maritime industry, you are going to be wearing a form of a uniform, and building those soft skills now is important to easing the transition into the professional world later. The uniform, in addition to what it is, has designated features indicating your class standing, your major, and awards. So for instance, if like I'm really proud of being an Eagle Scout, I have the Eagle Scout ribbon on my uniform. And that's the uniform piece. Next, I want to move on to grooming. and I would like the commandant's help on this, especially, please, but I'll get through it as much as I can. So our grooming standards are not that tricky to get, not that tricky on the whole, but it takes a little getting used to. So our cadets who identify as male have to have hair no longer than 4 inches. I'm just going to read off the slide. Excuse me. I don't know these, like the specifics of it, like the measurements. The hair may not touch the ears, the collar, or extend below the eyebrows when headgear is taken off. Cannot exceed 2 inches in bulk and have a taper no longer than a 1/4 inch. Sideburns not to fall below the middle of the ear. And although we do expect those cadets who identify as male to shave every day, if a cadet elects to have a mustache, the mustache cannot extend below the lip, nor grow beyond the grow beyond the corners of the mouth. So that's for males. To make it easier, so I just got a haircut today. This is not to brag, but the hair should look. It could be a little longer than this. I like mine short, but this is approximately how it should look like. I'm not going to model it, but you get the general idea. I have too long of a nose. I can't be a model. Sorry. So then we have cadets who identify as female. So the hair has to be in a professional manner. Braids and ponytails are allowed and are permitted, but they cannot exceed 3 inches below the bottom of the collar. So, you have the collar here. This is the top, and the bottom will be right here. So you can wear a ponytail or braid, but it cannot be that lower than 3 inches below that. However, there is a caveat to this. When required by shipboard regulations or in labs, the hair must be in a tight bun and may have to be put under headgear for safety reasons. And then in addition to that, only natural hair color dyes are permitted, and hair accessories must match the color of your hair. And then before I hand this over to the commandants to correct me on any mistakes I made, our cadets who are transitioning, they can notify the health center and let them know of their preferred gender, and then they will notify the commandant's office. Whichever gender you identify as, those are the standards and regulations that you inevitably have to follow.
Great job, Stas. Thank you so much for kind of working through this. And I know you said you weren't modeling, but I want to give you a little bit of credit there, man. You did a great job. So I think for this, really, just to recap a bit of what Stas had mentioned, is really that there are options here, that we do have a process for the sort of ever-growing and important discussion around gender and gender transition. So for us right here, this is the newest, latest, and greatest guidance that we have out. And so as we move into the year and work with this, this is kind of a work in progress. And I think we'll get a lot of feedback and use Cadets' experience along with a few of our other experts on campus to really help us with the decision making. But we want to make it clear. We want to make it pretty easy to understand and execute. And so this is where we're at. And then I see some questions in the chat, so I don't want to lose those. But I'll let Stas kind of keep going, and then we'll make sure to answer those once we get to that part of the presentation.
Might as well segue into it now. My next portion is questions. So would love to answer any questions that you have. Absolutely.
Great. Thank you so much, Stas. That was a wonderful presentation. And we don't have too many questions, but there was one about walkthroughs. Could either of the commandants or Stas tell us a little bit more about what that entails?
I would generally say the walkthrough is our chance to have that connectivity with our cadets, to actually engage, understand how they're doing in their classwork and their academics, how they're doing on campus. The big thing for us this year is wanting to make sure that the cadets have a sense of belonging. It is not a time, the walkthrough is not meant to be punitive. It is definitely a growing opportunity, and it gives us an opportunity to actually engage with the cadets, to understand what they're going through, what they're experiencing. That's the way I would actually put it in a synopsis. If Commandant Lombardo or Commandant Taliaferro want to add on, please do.
The next question is related to uniforms. So all the uniforms your student or cadet will need to wear will be provided in a sea bag, and that sea bag will be placed in your cadet's room prior to their arrival. And that should take care of anything they need. If there's any change in size or any changes are necessary, those can happen, and we will have our bookstore person available during orientation week to allow those changes to occur. Next question was, cadets will have a chance. Oh, there was a question about trying on their khakis, and I think that got answered in chat. Yes, we will have them try the clothes on, and any alterations necessary, we'll look into that and take care of it. Can males have earrings is the next question.
So
The short answer,
oh, sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry, the short answer is no.
Okay, thank you. Next question is, when in the school year do freshmen typically move onto the ship? Do I have to check out my dorm room and I move onto the Golden Bear? Who wants to take that one?
I can take that one. Normally, when the Golden Bear is back on campus, we do use it as a supplemental res hall. This year, because they're doing some upgrades to the lifeboats and a few other key pieces of equipment on board, we won't be using the ship for berthing for the year. So all first year cadets will be either in Upper Residence Hall or McAllister.
Thank you. Next question is, can you provide a little bit more detail on the watches? Are we, how long they are, etc.?
Yeah, so that's on me. Watches are 4 hours a piece. So they start at 4 p.m. and the first rotation of watches goes through till 8 p.m. And then depending on company, your next watch will be going from 8 till midnight. And then, sorry, I should have said this here. Depending on company, that's usually where that can end if you're MPM. And then for the other two companies, that will be going forth, right? So that will be another 4 hour rotation from midnight till 4 a.m. and then 4 to 8. And
Thank you,
if you stand a watch post midnight, this is how it was in the past. And the next day there is a formation, you are excused from that rotation, or not that rotation, that formation, because you did stand a later watch.
Got it. Thank you, Stas. Anyone who missed the previous presentations, please be patient with us. We will be posting those on the csuf.edu orientation page. I've not had the chance to do that as yet, but they will go on over there. So thank you for your patience, and you can expect to see those by the end of this week. I should be able to put all three or all four by the end of this week. Once my cadet is dropped off on campus, what does the week look like for orientation? That's a very loaded, long-winded answer, but I'll let Danielle take a stab at it if she can give us a short response.
Sure. I'm actually the chair for orientation for this year. And actually, it's going to be a series of days where they're going to have an academic day, a maritime day, community service day. Every day is actually programmed as to where your cadet will actually be. I think the nice part of it all is they will, once they're in a division, their divisional leadership will follow them through the training that they're going to go through. So they're never going to be left alone. They feel that they have someone to ask questions to, but they're very extensive days, long days, but I think they're going to be extremely rewarding. There's going to be some fun to it. There's going to be some physical activities which they can engage in. which is not strenuous by no means. They're meant to be fun engagements. And a matter of fact, we're going to have like movie night and s'more night and just barbecues and some actual fun along with the program itself. So that is just a quick little synopsis of orientation. Definitely schedules will be given to our cadets coming on board.
Thank you, Danielle. Next question is, do sophomores need clothes for orientation? Yes, we want them fully clothed for orientation. Do they need to be on uniform? Yes. So go ahead, Commandant Lombardo.
Yes, hello. All of the cadets who are coming for orientation the 2nd through the 6th should all be my cadets who were virtual last year and did not live on campus and did not have an orientation. So they will be receiving, only a handful of cadets received their sea bag for the few that were living on campus and some who came and picked their sea bag up, but everybody else will be getting their sea bag on the 2nd and their uniform will be in there.
Thank you. Next question is, can cadets trade their watch shifts with other cadets if they have reasons like a test or something?
Yes, absolutely. I have done that a countless amount of times. We are doing our best and we're intending to post the watch schedule the first week of school for the whole semester, so people will have ample notice and of when they have watches. So that will give people plenty of time to find replacements, and we cadet leaders are always here to help facilitate that and help people find replacements. I know I worked as a sophomore. I was a pizza delivery driver, and I had really weird shifts, as one can expect, and I always needed people to cover my shifts, to cover my watches and my shifts at work. You know, they work hand in hand, and so we definitely encourage people to find replacements if they can't make a watch. Absolutely.
Thank you, Stas. And obviously, every time they have to request these kinds of changes, they learn to advocate for themselves, and it's in itself a great learning experience. This one's for David. If we are in Hawaii, are we able to tour the Golden Bear while in port?
I wish you had called me earlier, but we are leaving within the hour. In fact, if you start hearing whistles and alarms start going off here, it just means we're prepping the ship to depart. So we'll be heading back to the mainland, but I'm pretty sure if you swing through campus in the fall, we'll definitely have some opportunities to get you a tour.
Thank you. Are cadets roomed in res halls with others in their same company?
Yes, they are. And furthermore, we try and take it all the way down to the divisional level. So generally speaking, there's a lot of interaction at the divisional level. It's probably what we refer to as our strongest unit of identity. And so we like to reinforce that at every opportunity we can. So you'll see when the room assignments come out, if they haven't already made their way to you, that it's very highly likely that they are rooming with somebody in their division.
Thank you. Yes, the room assignments and swim assessment time slots have been sent to all the cadets to their csum.edu email. So if for any reason your cadet does not have that, please contact housing@csum.edu, but they should have all gotten it last Thursday. Do cadets receive liberty during training cruise? For example, if the ship is in Hawaii?
Yes, we do. We do have liberty here. In fact, we actually had the sailing time changed on us kind of middle of the week this week. And so we were originally going to leave at noon today, and now we're leaving closer to 4 p.m. And we actually gave cadets a little bit of extra liberty this morning. So they do get liberty. Generally speaking, underclassmen liberty expires at 11 p.m. and then upperclassmen liberty expires at 01.
Thank you. Do the cadets stay in the same division for all 4 years?
I'll take this one. Yes, for the most part, the cadets will stay in their division for their time at Cal Maritime. Some of the reasons we'll move cadets out of their division is if they change majors and switch between companies, or if they accept a leadership role and we need to move them out of their division to take a leadership role. We try to minimize these cases, but if there happen to be any issues between cadets in a division, we will move them if necessary. But otherwise, for whether it's 4 years, 2 years, 5 years, they'll stay for the most part in their division.
And if
Thank
I can
you.
add on quickly, it is actually a sense of pride that they belong to 1D or 1M or 1E. They really build that sense of community within their division. And that's exactly what we want to do with them. The whole idea is small unit leadership, and they get really, really tight. So these are relationships that are going to carry on for years and years to come.
Thank you. We'll take this one last question, and then I would like David to speak a little bit about the leadership program we have on campus before we go to verbal questions. So this one is, my son is a transfer this fall. Will he be able to do the training tour that all the incoming freshmen participate in?
I think the short answer is yes. Especially if it's their first time coming into Cal Maritime, we have both transfer students and traditional matriculation, like straight out of high school. So they'll be in there together.
Thank you. David, do you want to stay on and speak to the Edwards Leadership Program just briefly?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
Yeah, so the Edwards Leadership Program is sort of our flagship leadership development program that we've had at Cal Maritime for almost a decade now. It's sponsored by our founders, Tom and Libby Edwards, who are just extremely great partners to the university. And we have a partnership with the Center for Creative Leadership that allows us to co-create curriculum that we do in seminar form. We also have workshops around peer coaching. For the past several years, we've had multiple leadership conferences that we've been able to attend through the Edwards Leadership Program. We've been at the United States Naval Academy Leadership Conference for 3 years in a row now. This last year was virtual, but we're hoping this January that it's back in person. And so really the topic of leadership development at Cal Maritime is one that is ingrained in every aspect of what a cadet is doing there. Really inside the Edwards Leadership Program, we work really closely on unpacking leadership experiences. And so we work through a experiential learning cycle frame. And as we teach that, it really is the way in which when we talk about developing leaders and taking on those different perspectives, that's that model and framework and experience really helps them for all subsequent conversations around their own development as a leader.
Thank you. I'd like to make a plug. We are looking at only 100 submissions of photos of the 300 that are the incoming class this year. If you can help us, reach out to remind your student to upload their photo so we can create their port pass, their ID card for when they arrive on campus. That would be very helpful. I have placed that port pass link in chat. So if you can help us out with that, that'd be great. And with that, do we have any other questions? We don't have any other questions per se. This might be a good time for any of the parents who've not been able to type in their questions to unmute themselves and ask their question. All right. Could I have everyone unmute and give our presenters a round of applause, especially our students who carried the weight of today's presentation. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you so much for your time.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you for your
Yeah.
time.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for your time.
Very impressed.
Informative and helpful.
Great. That was the goal. So we have 10 more minutes. If you have any questions unrelated to today's topic, now might be a good time to go ahead and ask that. All right. We could give everyone 10 minutes back. Thank you again, presenters, for your time this evening. And thank you, parents and family members who joined us. And we'll see you in just 2 days on Thursday. Thank you,
Vanita,
and yes.
there's one more question in the chat.
Oh, my bad. Will there be any parent social opportunities? Thank you, Carissa, for finding that. Yes. Are you talking about opportunities throughout the school year or at orientation? Ryan? Or yeah, either. So on move-in day, we do have a welcome scheduled for all the parents, and that'll be followed by what we call our capping ceremony. You'll have details available for that when you arrive. The timing is about 2:30 that afternoon when we will have your welcome session, followed by the capping ceremony. After that, you'll have a chance to have dinner with your student off campus, anywhere you would like. And we have to secure the campus at 9 o'clock. So after that, we will have your student here with us, and you will be able to go home. There is nothing for the parents on any of the other days. Throughout the school year, we have in October a parent and family weekend that is being planned. So you'll hear more about that. If your student has not already given us contact information for you, I'm including another link here where you can provide us with your information for future contact and communication. So we'll keep you posted on that. We have an annual gala that we invite all our parents to, among some other opportunities that we'll share with you in the future. How do we find out about Cadet Send-Offs? I can find that and place that information on the Facebook page. It's called Keelhauler Family Facebook page. I will include the information there. Anyone from student health here? I have a private question. So Susan, please go ahead and write to them at studenthealth@csum.edu. If you will, I'll have to look at the schedule, but we will have folks from that department later in the month also available to you to share information. As a parent living in another state, how can I volunteer and help CSUM? Jennifer, check out our Keelhauler page, family page, and see if there are some opportunities there. Let's start with getting your information to us and we'll reach out to you. I do send out newsletters every semester, and those are good ways to look for opportunities to engage with the campus. What is the weekend in October? It's the first weekend in October, October 1, 2, 3, I believe. Friday, Saturday, Sunday is when we are planning our family weekend. Student health, thank you, Carissa. Can you list the Facebook family page link that you keep mentioning? Yes, let me see if I can get to that while we are here. So the Facebook page is, you have to opt into it. It's a private group. You have to tell me your student's name and their major before I can accept you into the group. Once you are accepted in you can see all the updates that I place there. Give me a moment and I'll include that. Or you could just go into Facebook and look for Keelhauler families. Any other questions? All right. Thank you again. If Ryan, you would stick around just for a couple more seconds, I will add the link here. There you are. All right. Great. With no more questions, have a great evening, and we will see you on Thursday at 5:30. Thank you and good night.